On March 26, 2014, I set out to Estero Santa Rosa, Sonora, Mexico. The goal of this project was to observe Uca princeps and Uca crenulata. When I arrived at my study site, I discovered the tide was high. For this expedition, I had various tools at my disposal. It wasn't long before I heard a distress call.
It's a rare chicken vulture. We thought these were extinct. Its left lung is ruptured.
After bandaging my rare new friend, I continued to search for my study species. As the tide ebbed, I witnessed the crabs emerged. I then placed 3x3 foot plots and prepared data sheets. The project was now underway. Today I got to my study site at noon. Within 5 minutes, my umbrella broke. I was unable to fix it, despite my best efforts. I then set up a new observation post 20 feet downriver. At one point, the teacher's assistant dropped by to help me with my research. Her knowledge in the field was outstanding. I then continued to watch these fascinating creatures for several hours. I returned to camp later that afternoon to see my world-class chefs busy preparing dinner. Today I arrived earlier than before to find a low tide. The crabs, however, had not surfaced yet. I used this time to collect data on the substrate temperature farther downstream. In order to understand the study species more, I attempted to recreate some of their behavior. A few hours later, the crabs emerged. The tide flooded minutes later. In order to keep morale high, I performed a short cardio exercise. This was followed by a brief nap. It wasn't long until my observation spot started to take on water from the flooding tide. I returned a few hours later to see that the tide had gone down, but not enough. I then further perfected my study species impersonation. Today I created 3 new plots in a new study site upstream. This area had more sun, and therefore more crab activity. I also decided to change shirts. After a few hours of observations, the tide flooded again, and I returned to camp. I also observed a specimen. Today I returned to Section B to collect more data. After a few hours, I returned to camp for lunch. As the day winded down, I sat and observed an ugly sunset. The following morning I packed up camp. I complete the adventure, but my umbrella was lost. I removed the plots from my study sites and returned home to do some statistics.